In order to train as hard as possible, you must retain a clear image of your purpose. Once your goal is sharply but realistically defined, all that remains is carrying out your plan. Don't, however, worry about your individual potential. Potential is only the expression of a possibility, something that can be assessed accurately only in retrospect. In other words, you'll never know how good you might have become unless you try. So let's get with it.
This is me at 11 years old. I was never an athletically gifted kid. When I was younger, I was diagnosed with something called hypertonia, a condition that made it harder to gain muscle and easier to lose it. On top of that, I didn't know anything about nutrition. The result? I started life heavy. I was exhausted all the time. On top of that, I had scoliosis, a curvature of the spine, which impacted my posture. But I didn't want to look like that. I was seeing Superman and Wolverine all over the screen, and that's what I wanted to look like. And what did they have? They had six-packs. So I started running 5 miles a day and barely eating anything. I did lose weight, and I may have gained a couple of abs from that, but I still didn't look like Wolverine. I still didn't look like Superman. I looked into Men's Health, YouTube, bodybuilders, everything I could get my hands on. I followed every celebrity workout. I did every workout that Men's Health told me. I found myself on YouTube listening to the same thing come up over and over again. You've got to eat big to get big.
You gotta eat big to get big.
You gotta eat big to get big.
So that's what I did. I thought I was gaining all this muscle and all this size, and I was working out and I was eating everything. If it even hinted that I had protein in, I'd eat it. And I thought I was going to get this body once I'd leaned down and looked like my heroes. But when I did lean down, I barely looked any different to when I started. Over time, I figured out how I could maintain muscle whilst losing fat. It wasn't just one workout that changed everything for me. It wasn't a supplement that I took. It was everything. But there was one thing that had a bigger impact than anything else. If you want just how to lose weight in a sentence, reduce your calories to be in a calorie deficit, drink enough water, get enough sleep, walk at least 10,000 steps a day, eat healthily, get enough protein in, and throw in a bit of weight training in. That's it. Anyway, moving on, that's how you lose weight. And if you want a more detailed version of that, there are so many other people on the internet talking about it. You don't need to hear it from me standing in my kitchen. However, there are some things you do need to hear about from me standing in my kitchen. So let's get into it. I spent years weight training, looking at the back of the sandwich and going, oh, that has 30 grams of protein in, that's great. Oh, I better have a protein shake. Am I taking creatine? That's a good thing to do. I didn't progress. I could have a consistent year of just constantly plodding along. And even then, the results just weren't enough. Whereas when I put that extra 20% in, which was essentially increasing a few more steps and tracking everything, as in looking at everything calorie-wise, it was a huge difference. I barely changed my training. I barely changed anything, but I started tracking it. If you're just trying to get in shape and you're struggling, am I telling you to start living in the gym, sleeping on a gym floor, eating protein, tracking every No, you don't have to go crazy, but honestly look at it. And if you're not progressing, just for a couple of months, take it the most serious you've ever taken anything in your life. Just for a couple of months. A couple of months of very, very hard work to test yourself, to see what can happen if you do it, and maybe you'll fall in love with it because suddenly you'll be getting results that you've always wanted. On a surface level, this might seem like I'm just saying, if you don't succeed, just try harder. I found that to be incredibly discouraging. It comes down to consistency, effort, and time. If you look at the pictures that are coming up on screen now, that's taken ages. It's very easy to see in a picture, oh look, there's a little bit of difference there. No, that was a week of saying, no, I shouldn't eat out. No, I don't want to go to the gym, but now I have to spend an hour working out and then have another hour later just to make a small bit of difference, right? Over time, it just keeps happening and it just keeps happening and it just keeps happening. And that is how you do it. That's how you do it. You shouldn't be pushing yourself so hard that you can't maintain it. You should be pushing yourself. But if you push yourself too hard and you can't maintain it, it's a waste of time. I choose walking as my main form of cardio. Would it be better if I ran? Maybe, but I don't want to run. 90% of the time, I don't want to go to the gym today. I don't. It's about removing as many hurdles as possible to be able to get you there. When I'm laying in bed and I open my eyes and I think to myself, I need to go to the gym. It's gonna get a lot harder if I also think to myself, I gotta sweat and I gotta sprint and I gotta go. You know, a lot of the time I open my eyes, I think it's time to go to the gym, I really don't want to. And then I think to myself, it's just a walk, innit? It's just a walk. That's all you had to do, you just had to walk. And that is so much more achievable than thinking, right, I gotta sprint. Because a lot of the time I don't feel motivated. I tell myself, look, I don't wanna go to the gym. You don't wanna go to the gym. Just do 15 minutes, okay? Just do 15 minutes. And if you get to the gym and you do 15 minutes and you're feeling crap and you don't want to do it, you can go home. That's it. You just have to go do 15 minutes. And that's it. Sometimes it does hit 15 minutes and I go, right, I'm going home. That sucked. I have to be okay with me doing that. Otherwise, the offer of me quitting after 15 minutes isn't real. I'm gonna be honest, most of the time when I do get to the gym and I only say 15 minutes, I do a lot longer. There have been times where I've done like hour and a half runs because I've just got into it where I really didn't feel like it before. Just a little update. I don't feel like it. Build up a way to make it as easy as possible for yourself to achieve these goals. Like food. It would be so much harder for me to turn down all of my favorite food if it's just right there in front of me. However, I make the same breakfast every morning. Why? Because it's delicious and it's easy to make. And it fits my calories and protein and stuff like that. Now, if I compare that to a breakfast that's really complicated to make, very expensive, I have to go get 50 ingredients, cook it for 20 minutes. If that's my breakfast, it's much more likely when I'm feeling lazy, when I'm feeling unmotivated, that I'm gonna go, oh, I might just go down to Wendy's down the road and get some food. It'll work, I'll figure it out. I'll just have that and I'll make the calories work. And I'm gonna be honest, I've done that before. But when there's a really easy, healthy meal that you just throw in a bowl, that's a hell of a lot easier to stay on your diet than constantly having unhealthy food around you. What I've found isn't about overcoming laziness necessarily, which it is a part of that, you know. Get to work. But equally, it's not always that easy. Taking steps to make the difficult things as easy as possible is going to improve the chances of you doing them. At least that's what I've found. This doesn't apply to everyone, but it certainly applies to me and maybe you. Just put in a little bit of extra effort for a while and see what happens. Maybe you're already giving 100% effort, right? If you're upset with your progress before you think, oh, I suddenly need to do steroids. This is the reason why. This is a reason why. Just for a bit, put in your best. Give it your best and see what happens. Truly, see what happens. If you do that and nothing happens and you see no extra progress and you've intelligently followed a program so truly and you're tracking it and nothing changes, maybe speak to a professional, maybe go to a doctor, see if there's anything going on. And every time I lost weight, I always looked exactly the same as I did before I put the weight on. And I couldn't understand it because I was going into a deep calorie deficit. I was keeping my training going. I was still lifting heavy. I would just shrink and shrink and shrink and get weaker and weaker and weaker, and I couldn't retain muscle. It was a combination of two things that led me to try walking. One, I'd heard a podcast where David Goggins was saying
about how you can get somewhere and how it looks. It looks very ugly. There's no fucking passion. There's no fucking motivation. There's no, oh my God, man, no. It's every day of your life just doing. No passion.
It was also my friend Jermaine lost a lot of weight all of a sudden. You can hear a lot of people talk about fitness online. When you see results in someone, it impacts you a lot more compared to seeing another thing online. The walking thing it was low impact enough for me to continuously keep pushing. It was always so easily accessible to me. I didn't need a bike, I didn't need treadmill, it didn't need to be sunny, it didn't need to not be raining. I could always get my steps in, I could always walk. That accessibility to consistency, I think, really was a game changer for me. Removing an obstacle. It's about making the hard things in your life as easy as possible, so then you'll do them. As you can imagine, you need to eat food for lots of different reasons. The vitamins, the minerals, the proteins, the carbohydrates, the fats, the macronutrients, all that sciencey stuff. So how do you increase a calorie deficit? You move more so that you can still consume enough good things without just withering away. I'm not saying it's necessarily the right thing for you, but what I would say, the benefit of finding what's right for you. Because I know I could have lost weight if I would have sprinted every day. But I can tell you, over a period of time, I'm not going to be able to maintain that. But for me personally, I can always maintain walking. Be patient, work hard, spend a long time on it, be consistent, and the results will come. This is kind of like a day one thing, but it's not a day one because I've already been doing it for months, but this is day one in the final stretch of this cut, which we're trying to get a six-pack under there. You know, a visible one in any lighting. All right, this is where we're at the moment. Looking pretty malnourished, but I haven't eaten much today. That's 2 hours cardio done. By the end of this, I should be a little leaner. I'm hoping I'll be shredded. What do you think, Chai? Shredded. The thought process of doing a long cardio session was I really hate doing cardio, but I really want to be lean. If I give you a little tense, that's where we're at. I've had a really busy day, which you can imagine when 2 hours of your day are taken up with cardio. Well, I'll see you next week for a check-in. This is a quick one today because I am about to go see myself in the cinema because I'm in Beetlejuice 2 and I'm going to go see myself in the movies, which is a first for me. But I got my cardio done and I sweat through. Actually, I'll take my top off, that's why we're here. I'm proud of the work that I've done, but I know that I need to do more. To shower, get ready, and go to the premiere of Beetlejuice, because it came out today. Anyway. Really didn't feel like coming in today, but I really want the results. So here I am, doing it again. There are no endorphins right now. Still waiting for that endorphin release. Short check-in, because what else is there but going strong? Alright, so my body fat seems like it's not going down at all, and it seems like it hasn't gone down at all in weeks. I've been doing cardio every day, been having my diet, been drinking all my water, and it seems like it's not doing anything, right? I gotta trust the process more than I trust my own mind. I know what I'm doing works. It's happened before. Hello. This is another week's check-in. As you can see from a colour difference of there and there, it's been a sweaty workout today. Oh, I'll take my top off. Hang on, let's see if I can do this. Yeah, it's, you know what? I'm gonna get the tripod. Oh my god, this is so much more professional. As you may or may not have seen, I just sweat a lot, but this is where we're at. That's thinner. That's thinner here. 21 minutes left. It's been a good session so far. Check-in time, but I'm keeping my hat on because I've been wearing a hat all day. I look like a crazy person. Will there be any difference? I don't know. Let's see. So, this is where we're at. Yeah. Didn't want to do it today. Just walking now, aren't I? Not running. Don't need to hype myself up. 2, 3, 4. Easy, mate. Did it. Look at all that sweat. It's going to be a six-pack building over there. Hello. I'm back.
I'm back, motherfucker!
Time to get topless. This is check-in. I don't know. This is where we're at the moment. Another week done. I'll see you next week. Hopefully I'll be leaner again. Being on incline 10 for an hour. Another little check-in. This is where we are at the moment. So today is the day where I am going to do my photo shoot. I'm hungry, I'm really unmotivated, I'm tired, if we're being honest. I haven't been doing as many check-ins with you. I'm really hoping some carbs and a bit of salt really gives me all the energy that I need to. Time to set up this studio and then get the old... So for anyone who's interested, I probably won't keep this in, but I've got a light coming down and a light just to backlight me, give me a nice outline so you can see the physique clearly. Time to not look like this anymore. So I said I wasn't going to do this, but here we are, 1 hour before this video comes out, still filming. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. And also, if you're one of the first people to watch this when it first comes out, this was me like 2 hours ago, so hey. I wanted to add this in just in case this video does well, but my friend Rob Tillier, who you saw during this video, he helped me, mentored me, coached me when I was training for a powerlifting competition. He doesn't know I'm doing this, but he owns a company called IF Strongwear, which is this t-shirt. I've had this t-shirt for 13.5 years. I've worked out in it hundreds of times. It still looks good, I think. If you're interested in some really cool sportswear for the gym or whatever, go check out the link in the description below. This isn't a sponsored post. He's a really good guy. He's one of the best people I've met. And if you want to support him rather than a billion-dollar company, I think that would be awesome. I'll leave a link in the description below. When it comes to this video and this photo shoot, I actually finished that 4 months ago. I've taken a bit of a break away from this, had a few donuts, put on a bit of fat, got a lot stronger, got my strength back, which is great. I'm still back to training around 4 to 5 times a week at the moment, but I just wanted to comment a little bit on the hypertonia and scoliosis. They're not things that you can beat or overcome. No many press-ups, sit-ups and pull-ups are gonna suddenly fix your spine and put it into a straight line. However, building up your rear delt so you can bring your shoulders back and keeping physically fit and not allowing myself to get too high of a body fat percentage and making sure my cardiovascular fitness is high. In my opinion, and I'm not a doctor, I'm just saying what I've found, it has hugely reduced the effects of hypertonia to the point where I don't really It's not something that affects me or I think about in my day-to-day life already ever. And it's something that I'm quite proud of. I put a lot of work into. Reflecting back on it, it was hard. And there's no question about it, especially near the end when I really tried to dial it in. Last year, I didn't eat for 7 days as a challenge to myself. And I found that during this 60-pound weight loss, when there were times where I was feeling particularly weak and I was like, I just want to eat something, I would think, well, you went 7 days without eating anything. You can go 2 hours until you're going to eat next meal. If you have any questions, I would love to hear from you. If you are going through a physical transformation yourself or thinking about it, or you're struggling or you've succeeded, drop a comment. Also, if you could like and subscribe, that would be awesome. That's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching, truly. And until next time,